I was 19 when I took a solo road trip from Ohio to Utah to visit a friend. I didn't plan most of the drive, just stopped wherever I felt tired. On my second night, somewhere in Nebraska, a massive storm rolled in, turning the sky pitch black and the highway into a sheet of vibrating rain. My little Honda hydroplaned twice, so I pulled off at the first exit and saw a neon sign buzzing through the downpour. Valley Star Inn, vacancy. It looked unbelievably old. Only half of the sign lit up. But it was late, getting dangerous to drive, so I checked in. The front desk worker was a thin older man with deep purple bags under his eyes, like he hadn't slept in a week. "You traveling alone?" he asked, not bothering to smile. "Yeah. Just need a place to crash." He hesitated, then slid the form over to me. "I'll give you room 12. Close to the lobby." He said it like it mattered. When I got inside the room, I immediately felt uncomfortable. The air was cold, much colder than the hallway. The curtains were drawn, the carpet damp, and the hotel TV was already on, playing static. I laughed nervously and shut it off. Maybe the wind or some glitch. But then I noticed something else. There was a second door in the room that I hadn't seen when I walked in, an old wooden door with peeling white paint. It looked like a connecting room door, except this one had no handle. Just a keyhole. From the other side, I heard a slow, deliberate shuffle. A step. Another. Then something pressed lightly against the door, making it creak. I froze. I knocked lightly. "Hello?" Maybe they gave me a connecting room by accident. Nothing. I put in earbuds and forced myself to sleep. At around 2:30 a.m., I woke because the TV had turned on again, full static, loud. I shot up, half asleep and angry, thinking I had rolled over on the remote. But then something else made me fully awake. The second door was open 2 inches. I know for a fact it was shut earlier. I sprinted across the room and shoved it closed, throwing the deadbolt across it even though the bolt didn't fully fit. The moment I touched the door, something on the other side moved again, this time rushing forward, hitting the wood hard enough to rattle the frame. I ran out of the room barefoot and burst into the lobby. The old man looked up slowly, unsurprised. "Let me guess," he said. "Room 12. I demanded answers. His voice shook when he explained. Years ago, a drifter stayed here. He had a connecting room, room 13. He didn't just die. He went feral before it happened. Locked himself inside for weeks. By the time we opened the door, he had clawed at the walls, ripped out chunks of the carpet with his teeth. He attacked 2 staff members before he collapsed. He never talked. Never explained anything. He rubbed his face with trembling hands. We sealed room 13. Covered the door. But he still moves. Staff hear him every night. He likes when travelers stay next door. I checked out immediately, didn't even ask for a refund. When I ran past the hallway toward my room to grab my things, I noticed something I hadn't earlier. Room 13's door wasn't just sealed. It had handprints all over it. Fresh ones. Last year, my sister and I drove to Colorado for a ski trip. On the way back, a blizzard forced us to stop at a cheap 3-story hotel right off the highway. It wasn't horrible, but the halls felt damp and strangely deserted. Our room was on the 3rd floor, right next to the ice machine room. At around midnight, we were still awake, watching TV and joking about how creepy the hotel felt. That's when we heard something slam from the ice room. Then a scraping sound. Like someone dragging something heavy across concrete. I opened the door and looked into the hallway. The ice machine room door was slightly open, a sliver of bright white fluorescent light spilling out. The scraping continued, slow, rhythmic, unsettling. My sister whispered, "Maybe someone's stuck." We both stepped closer. Before I could push the door open, a woman's voice came from inside, raspy, breathless. "Hello? Can you help me?" It was the kind of voice that sounds like someone is crying but holding it in. My skin crawled instantly. Something felt wrong. I nudged the door and it opened only halfway. The inside was freezing, far colder than it should have been. The machine was humming but the room was empty. Empty except for a woman standing in the corner, her hair soaked, her clothes dripping. Like she'd walked out of a snowbank. She didn't move toward us. She didn't blink. She just stared. My sister whispered, "Are you okay?" The woman slowly shook her head. Then she lifted her arm, showing long scratches across it, blue and icy. "It won't let me leave," she said. My stomach turned. "What?" She pointed at the ice machine. Except she wasn't pointing at it. She was pointing into it. Before we could ask anything else, she suddenly jerked forward, like something yanked her. A blast of freezing air shot out from behind the machine. The door slammed shut so hard the walls shook. My sister screamed and we sprinted back to our room, barricading the door with the dresser. We didn't sleep. Not even close. At 6 a.m., we grabbed our bags and ran to the car. On the way out, I asked the front desk lady if anyone else had reported something weird on the third floor. She sighed deeply. "You're in room 307, right?" "Yeah, you're not the first." She explained that 2 winters ago, a woman slipped on ice in the hotel parking lot, hit her head, and froze to death behind the dumpsters before anyone found her. Now, guests reported seeing a soaking wet woman roaming the third floor in the winter months. Especially around cold storage rooms, she added. We left without breakfast. When we passed the ice machine room one last time, the door, which had been wide open earlier, was now covered in condensation. And someone had drawn a handprint on the glass panel. From the inside. I was staying in a big chain hotel for a work conference, nothing fancy, but clean and normal. My room was on the 14th floor. A long, carpeted hallway with repeating doors and identical lights. I checked in, took a shower, and was getting ready for bed when the room phone rang. The old landline by the bed. I hadn't ordered anything. Hadn't called the front desk. So I answered cautiously. "Hello?" Nothing at first. Just static. Then a whisper. "Don't leave your room." I froze. "Who is this?" A long pause. Then the voice spoke again, quiet, trembling. "He's outside. He's checking the rooms. Don't open your door." My blood went cold. "Who?" But the line went dead. I tried calling the front desk, but the phone just beeped like it was disconnected. A minute later, soft footsteps echoed in the hallway. Slow. Heavy. Unhurried. They stopped right in front of my door. I turned off the lights and pressed my ear to the peephole. At first, all I saw was the empty hallway. Then, a face slid into view. A man. Middle-aged. Smiling too wide. He leaned forward until his eye filled the peephole, staring directly at me through it, like he knew exactly where I was standing. I didn't move. His lips curled upward. Then he whispered through the crack under the door. "I know this room is occupied." I stumbled backward, heart pounding. After a few seconds, he jiggled the handle, hard. Then harder. At one point he slammed his shoulder into the door. I grabbed a chair and wedged it under the handle, praying the deadbolt would hold. After what felt like 5 minutes, the slamming stopped. But I could still hear him breathing on the other side. Eventually, the footsteps moved away, slowly, fading down the hall. I didn't sleep. In the morning, I rushed to the lobby and told the manager everything. His face went pale. "Sir, the phones on the 14th floor haven't been connected since the maintenance blackout last week. They couldn't have called your room." I insisted it happened. He checked the cameras. At 12:18 a.m., a tall man wearing a hotel maintenance jacket stepped off the elevator on the 14th floor, but his badge wasn't real. He went room to room, quietly testing each handle. "What about the room that called me?" I asked. The manager swallowed hard. "Nobody was in that room. It's been empty for months. Still, someone, or something, had called me. And someone else had been just inches away from getting into my room. I stopped using hotel room phones after that."